Gamers Ledge presents.
I feel like I fought all my life for this. This one part, this one third, I've always missed. No, just don't let it go. I started the fight, but now I'm losing. So, will I fall again? I'm scared of heights, yet it was me who ran away.
Talking them down from the ledge. With your hosts, Dave, Matt, and Mark. Here's how it works. Every week, we do assertion. The others have to try to talk them down from the ledge. This week, is Arrow a good show? Warning, spoilers will be discussed in this show. Hello and welcome to the first episode of Talking Them Down from the Ledge. Thanks for joining us. I'm joined today, as you saw in the intro, by the principal.
Howdy.
And by the Legonator.
Thank you.
So, the rules are thus. Matt has an assertion that Arrow, the CW drama, is a good show. He will spend 5 minutes making his case. We will be followed by 2 argument rounds after that, of 5 minutes apiece by Dave and myself. And then there will be 1 5-minute cross-exam where Dave and I will ask Matt questions to challenge his position. Matt, in turn, receives the final word today with 1 2-minute closing argument in which he must say whether or not he changed his mind on his position, as well as say what the best argument of the day was. So with that, I am your timekeeper, Mark. The marksman.
Need like a big clock to put in the corner there.
That will probably happen right here.
Or just maybe around his neck like Flavor Flav.
So, whenever you are ready, let me put the time on the clock. I've never updated my iPad, so I don't know where the clock thing is.
Nice.
This is why I still wear one of these.
Yeah. So are you getting one of the $18,000 Apple Watches?
No.
And we are exactly 2 minutes and 12 seconds in. All right, no swearing. Got it. All right, so your 5 minutes begins now. Go.
All right, so the assertion here is that Arrow is a good show, or better. Good, great, excellent, anywhere from good and up. The show aired on the CW starting 3 seasons ago, as it's in the 3rd season right now. Started out with the establishment of the characters and who they are. Now, for me, I don't know much about Green Arrow. I literally don't. I know the basics of his origin story. I know, non-powered. I know, kind of the not the correct terminology, but kind of the baby face to the heel of Batman. You know, they're very similar characters, but with very different perspectives on how the world should work and things like that. So I get that. but I don't think, to my knowledge, I know a single Green Arrow storyline aside from origin story. So going into that, I knew the show was different. I was actually a little put off initially that they didn't keep going with the Green Arrow from Smallville, because this happened shortly after the end of Smallville. And I was initially a little bit upset about that. But once I saw the direction they were going and what they were doing with the show, I was fine with that. Now, you come into this, and Oliver is a very different person from the comic. And I'm okay with that. As the show progresses, you start realizing that a lot of the characters and the villains and stuff they're coming up with are actually Batman villains, which really kind of fits the motif that they're going with this show, rather than the kind of more happy-go-lucky kind of guy who's much more serious and much more dour, and is outright a lethal Punisher-style vigilante in the first season. So, season 1 was really good, enjoyed it, came in for season 2, and that's, for me, when it really started hitting its stride. He starts becoming more of an established hero rather than an anti-hero, so to speak. Still not the Oliver, but that we know from the comics. But again, that's been discussed through the production staff and things. That's why they didn't call him the Green Arrow from the get-go on the show. He's not the Green Arrow yet. He's becoming the Green Arrow. So we went from the Hood in season 1 to the Arrow in seasons 2 and 3. And then in season 3, I know this is controversial for some, they introduced a significant Batman storyline, or inspired by. It's not literally exactly a Batman storyline, but it's heavily inspired by. It's very close. It's very close. It's not exact, but I don't know if you guys have seen the latest episode, but some interesting twists and turns are going to be happening here toward the end of the season. Now, it's a very popular show, regardless of whether where this comes out. It's a very popular show. It's done great things for CW and for WB and DC, all these 2-letter acronyms, and they've been able to launch. Without Arrow, we wouldn't have Flash. Without Arrow, we probably wouldn't have Gotham. Without Arrow, we probably wouldn't be getting Supergirl or Teen Titans or any of these other shows that are coming. So while Marvel is kind of owning the moviescape, DC is definitely rocking the TV world. And we know that WB/DC has no stomach to do a Batman show, because when they had the opportunity to do a Batman TV show, they did Gotham instead. So taking the Arrow and Batman and kind of fusing them into a singular entity, for me, for the TV universe, it doesn't bother me. How much time do I have left?
1 minute, 30 seconds.
Wow, I talk really fast. Let's see. I don't know how many of the characters... Again, I don't know Green Arrow, so I don't know his villains. I don't know if any of the villains that have shown up in the show are... They're all DC villains, but I don't know if any of them are specifically Green Arrow villains. Huntress, maybe, or is that Batman too? I don't know. So, again, not knowing, for me, I don't
half
care.
The battle. I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Yeah, not knowing is half the battle. But again, it's been wonderfully scripted. The acting, first season, you can argue the acting was probably a little, but so was Star Trek: The Next Generation. The characters have developed great. The character of John Diggle is really the grounding character for the audience to attach to. Felicity, I don't know, is she a TV specific or is she a comic character? I don't even know. Do you guys know Felicity Smoke? Okay,
Actually, not sure.
I believe she's TV.
She's basically Oracle in the TV show, right? I mean, there's no denying that she's essentially Oracle in the TV show. Introducing the Atom in there, getting Roy Harper in there now as as Arsenal. It's a really good show. It's built a really good cast. It's got some really good scripting. And yes, did they borrow heavily from another mythos that isn't Green Arrow? Yes, they have borrowed very heavily from another mythos, but they've made it work and it's been enjoyable.
That's time. And just for the record, before Dave starts his rebuttal, Felicity, which I didn't put 2 and 2 together, is actually Ronnie Raymond's stepmother.
Wait, what?
Yes. I never put 2 and 2 together because I didn't realize that was supposed to be the same person. That is actually Firestorm's stepmother.
I'm thinking they're taking some liberties with that.
A little bit. A little bit. So,
yeah, I'm thinking they're not going with that one.
Yeah, probably not. So, Dave, your 5 minutes begins now.
I'm not going to say I'm the most read of the Green Arrow mythos. I've seen a bunch of stuff. I've read some comics that people have lent me. I've, picked up on some things here and there. So I've read a little bit about Oliver Queen. I've watched some Oliver Queen. This show is not Oliver Queen. It's just not. The one thing I understand, borrowing some storylines and such, but they just kind of missed the mark completely on the character itself. Like you said before in your opening statement, he's kind of like Batman, but like a different take on it, and he's definitely more lighthearted, joking, snarky. Like when he does things, he's got like a different take on. I know a lot of the stuff goes against corporate, corruption and things like that. So it's perfectly fine to go for that. Like a little bit of snark in the show, a little bit, just a slight bit of levity, would be kind of awesome from him. But then they started going, I mean, you said they borrowed a little bit from Batman's storylines. It was Batman's storylines. They so desperately want this guy to be Batman. And it's just like, he can stand on his own. There's plenty of stuff there to stand on his own. There's plenty of great stories they can borrow from. There's just plenty of great just aspects of the character they can go into that they're just not. And it's just kind of frustrating and sad and, upsetting. And then they're kind of like just sandwiching in Adam into it, which I don't really even know what they're doing there. Like that's like I'm just gonna change my shrinking power into an acronym, and then people like Iron Man, right? So we're just gonna do that. And I love that character actually on the show. Like I liked what they were doing, how they introduced him, and I'm like, okay, this could work. And then they're just like, he's just Iron Man. I don't like like, seriously. That is a serious part of my argument.
That's the box art. 9.5 Gamer's Ledge.
Oh gosh.
And I struggle. This is my biggest struggle with the show. Can I divorce myself enough from just how the show is trying to be something completely opposite from what, maybe not so much opposite, but just completely different from what it's titled after, as opposed to, like, is the show actually okay and good on its own? It's not a bad show. It has had some good acting and everything in it. I give it that, but just the Ra's al Ghul thing bothers me, I'll be honest. Just having it in and Ra's saying that he wants Arrow to be his replacement. It's just like, dude, that is just straight up Batman right there. And no. He is not the world's greatest detective on that show. It's just, no. Just no. Do I have enough time, or should I fill it up with a bunch?
You have a minute 30 seconds.
I have a minute 30. Wow, we always call it at that time so far. That's going to be a trend. Should I just say no for another minute 30 seconds? Nope. No.
No, you can call it done if you have no more
Cognitive arguments would be appreciated.
Yes.
No, but my serious thing about it is there's so much lore. There's so much to borrow from. There's so much great stuff. That actor, the guy that's playing Arrow,
Stephen Amell.
Yeah, he is awesome. He could totally pull off, like, there was a DC one shot. It was like a mini. It was like a mini cartoon that was in front of one of the Blu-rays, somewhere one of their one-off movies, that had this like great little mini one-shot Green Arrow thing that was awesome. That guy could pull that off, no problem, and people would love it. They need to do that. They need to start to lighten up the character and be more like the Ollie Queen that we've known and loved from other things. And I'll just call it that.
Excellent. Well said.
Thank you. Except for the odd part. I'm a little disappointed there.
Nah, you're fine. My 5 minutes on the clock starts now. Listen, I drink.
Borrowed heavily from.
But I will say that I have the most experience reading the character among the three of us on the panel, as I've read from his original appearance in the 40s. He is a Golden Age character through today. And I will concede that in his original storylines, he was very much Batman-esque. But that only lasted for about 5 months. And then they looked around and they said, you know what, we need someone to be the antithesis of Batman. And that is exactly how Green Arrow became who he is. He is socialist. He is for the people. He is light-hearted. He brings the human element to the Justice League, whereas Batman is dark and brooding and does anything to get the job done, and everything is sacrificable for the greater good. The problem, and I will not deny that without Arrow the TV show, we would not have the best superhero show, The Flash, on television today. But, however, Arrow does not equal Batman. And that is, as Dave so eloquently put it, they are not borrowing storylines, they are straight up plagiarizing storylines. The problem I have with this is that they could have very easily went down a path to give him his own voice and still acknowledge Batman without ever having to have him on the show. In a universe where Batman exists, this Arrow is not necessary. Because Batman does exist. Instead, we have Arrow Man on the CW, which I don't like. Yeah, I get, they've said, well, Batman doesn't exist in this universe. It's still a cop-out. What I feel they have done is that they have co-opted teen drama to put butts in chairs. And does it work? Yes. That's one of the reasons it's a successful show. But you've completely made an aberration of the character that the show is named after. They know that dark sells better. Look at Christopher Nolan's Batman series. But one of the things in the comics that made Green Arrow so spectacular was they originally paired him up with another quasi-dark character, and that was Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. And that's how the Brave and the Bold series began. And Ollie was the one that always lightened the mood, that kept him grounded. And then eventually they started pairing him up with the Flash because everybody realized that they'd make such a good duo together. So for me to see them take him down this dark angle, it is rather disturbing. And I was talking about this with another friend, and he flat out asked me, how many episodes of Arrow have you watched? My answer? 4. Now, am I saying that I am an expert on the show Arrow? No. But I can tell you that when I watch a show, I get a vibe from it. And that vibe is not Green Arrow. That vibe is Batman. And do I want to watch a Batman TV show? No, because I think Batman is ultimately a stupid character. Can he be written to do good things? Yes, he can. Look at the animated series. Great use of storytelling in that. But is that what we get most of the time? No. We get a lot of revenge stories and a lot of rich boy spoiled toys, etc. So we're not here to argue that merit. What we're here to argue is Arrow Man. I mean Arrow. And the things that the other points I'd like to bring up before my time is up is I don't mind having a character change. I don't mind having his origin change, as long as the core essence of the character is there. And if you look at Flash and you look at Firestorm and the way they introduced him, we have that. The creators of Arrow with Adam and Arrow show that they have no reverence for the original story arcs and the original essence of the characters. And that's probably what I have the most problem with. Where is Jolly Ollie? We have not seen him yet, and I don't think we ever will. So, this is the part of the show where we get to ask questions of Matt. Matt, are you ready for your Berserker Barrage? All right. Dave, I'll let you take first question. We have 5 minutes for cross-exam starting now.
First question. Do you... I'm trying to think of how to word this exactly.
Be as direct as possible. Namaste.
So say for instance, they keep expanding the DC universe in the television space. And one day they decide that, hey, it would be cool to throw a Batman show up. And then they start sitting down and going, okay, we got a great actor lined up. We got all this stuff lined up. And, we're going to overdub the voice of the character with Kevin Conroy. I mean, they're just going to do everything right about this show. And then the writers sit down in the room. They're like, all right, where are we going to go with this? And they'll be like, we can't do anything because Arrow took all the Batman storylines. I'm just going to leave that as a statement. You can do what you want.
Well, see, here's the great thing. I mean, Batman has a ton of well-known and excellent storylines that Arrow has come nowhere near. And even if it does its entire 5-year initial run and stops, will still never come anywhere near touching. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, we've already broken the spoiler barrier, so there's going to be some warning on this, right?
Yes.
Ultimately, he turned down race. I mean, but he turned it down completely different than Batman does. There's no Talia yet, so we've still got the Talia angle that could play, assuming it's done in the Flash Arrow universe, right? Because there's like 4 different DC TV universes going on right now. That okay, we have Speed Force, so potentially they could all end up collapsing on each other, but there's still the opportunity there. Do I think that Batman TV show would be impossible to do, seeing as how stuff from it has been co-opted by Arrow? No, I don't, because we haven't touched on a ton of great Batman stories, especially focusing around his specific villains that haven't shown up in. Now, if they start throwing the Joker and the Riddler and stuff in Arrow,
I never said you actually got to respond to these questions.
well, what's the point of asking a question if I don't get to answer?
I'm just kidding.
All right, I'll shut up now, though. It's taking too long.
All right. Here's my question for you, Matt. It's actually a 2-part question.
No twofers.
Number 1. Do you care about character authenticity or just abs?
I care about a well-delivered character. Authenticity is sometimes important. Other times it can be, I guess, compromised is the correct word. It depends. It's situationally dependable. A good character, even if it's not the character we're familiar with, is still okay to me. I mean, look at...
So in this instance, in this specific case of watching Arrow,
mm-hmm.
Are you indeed an unwashed mass?
Okay, you're going to have to specify that a little bit more.
Do you feel as though you are one of the unwashed masses that have no idea about anything on the show and are just watching because it's a teen drama with a superhero dressing?
I think saying it's just a teen drama is definitely washing it down, or watering it down, rather. There's elements of that there, yes, but I don't know. I enjoy the fact that the spin that they're taking on the universe. Is it the DC universe that we grew up and know and loved pre-New 52, all that, or post-New 52 or anything? No, it's not. Is the character exactly the same as he was in the book? No, he's not. Do I think they're moving toward that? Yes. I mean, if you look at the character progression through the 3 seasons, he's definitely moving from darker to lighter. Will he ever be Jolly Ollie? That's debatable. But with no Batman counterpoint, he doesn't have something to compare against. So I think it's really well written. I think it's really well presented. I think it's really well done. So I don't think it's just turn off my brain and watch it for a half hour or for an hour like when I watch something like Big Bang Theory.
Dave, final question.
I think my final question is this. Do you actually think that if they just continue the show as is, and if they just kind of keep it the dark and broody and the whole, if they just keep him as, Batman, do you think that's going to hurt it overall, or do you really believe that they are going to bring him around and kind of fully, I guess, immerse him in like the way his character should be, and it actually is a curve of like how he started, and then took himself too seriously, and then starts going into how he should be, and I mean, as we've seen with other shows like The Flash, I mean, The Flash is clearly an extremely popular show. It's very well done, and it's a lot lighter and everything. And as far as like the character, he has the slight broodiness, as in like the weight of the world is on his shoulders, but the way he handles everything and his upbeat and his positivity and everything. Do you think that they will actually go with that to bring Arrow with the snarky quips and the things that he's kind of known for in the comics, and hopefully more trick arrows and everything like that to kind of bring a little more fun into the show?
They did do the boxing glove arrow. Did you see that?
They
that
did.
episode?
They did.
do the
I was
boxing
very
glove.
happy with that. I'd like to see a little bit more.
I would. I definitely think, well, if you've been watching the show from the beginning, they're doing the 5-year progression. He was trapped on Lian-Yu, the island, for 5 years. So each season they're covering a year of the island or a year of his exile and a year of the current time. So they're progressing the show that way. And you're seeing both versions of Oliver learn, going from, irresponsible, young, rich kid to, trained, badass, but through all the stuff he goes through on Lian-Yu and with Argus and all this stuff, and then you're watching him go from the Punisher to ultimate what I believe is probably not quite Jolly Ollie Spider-Man quipping Jolly Ollie, but I think we're definitely going to be much closer to that by the end of the 5-year run than we are now, or than where we started at. So I think it will stay darker because they've got the Flash as their light show. So I think Arrow will stay a little more serious, but I think he will get much closer to when they finally I can't talk. When they finally gift him with the title Green Arrow, he will be much closer to the Green Arrow than he is now.
So that brings us to our final closing arguments from the person making the assertion, which is Matt. Matt, you have 2 minutes to state your case, and within that 2 minutes, state whether or not you've changed your mind and who had the best argument of the day.
All right. Well,
Or
to start off with
what
that best argument.
yeah.
To start off with, I have to go. I mean, I love it all. The state of TV we're in right now is awesome, and the fact that you can get a shirt like this is even more awesome. But ultimately, I think that the show is a very good show. It's a great show. I enjoy it greatly. Is it completely staying within the lines, which someone got all in a twist about me drawing lines and staying in them the other day? No, it's not staying in all of the lines. It's going off. Is it a little bit teen drama-y? Yeah, it's a little bit teen drama-y, but it's not that much. Is it a good action-based show? Yes. Is he the world's greatest detective? No, he's not the world's greatest detective. Is he just trying to figure out how to do things and keep going forward and get better? Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. Great costuming, great acting, enjoyable. It's just enjoyable. And the part of my brain, if I had read every single Green Arrow comic and I was a diehard Green Arrow fan, I can understand how I would probably have a slightly different perception of the show because it's not doing things about the Green Arrow. But the thing is, after assuming it makes it past this 5-year initial storyline spread, we can start getting into those things. They can start going down that path. I love what they've done with The Flash. The Flash has been an amazing show. I love how they've done with that and how it's been much more true to its comic origins. That's been a great experience. But this version of the Green Arrow, again, hence why it's not called Green Arrow because he's not that character yet, has been a fun ride, and I've enjoyed it. And Stephen Amell is so dedicated to the character in the show, and generally just a great guy. The best argument was probably It was probably okay. So 10 years down the road, we decided to do a Batman show. Now what storylines do we use? I guess Batman's got to take all the Green Arrow storylines and go with it. So I do appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that, I don't think a Batman show will ever be on TV again. I don't think, at least the way DC is right now, I don't foresee them ever putting Batman on TV. They want to save that as a movie franchise, which is sad because there are just so many things you can't do in a movie franchise that you can do in a TV franchise. Ultimately, at the end of the day, while I appreciate the argument, I cannot use that as a reason to say it's a bad show. Much like Battlestar Galactica changed every single character on the map up until season 4, that didn't mean it was a bad show. It is a good, really good or great show depending on how you look at it, and it's entertaining and enjoyable.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's Talking Them Down from the Ledge. I will have the appropriate you jumping to your death animation. Yes, perfect. Directly after this. Next week, tune in for our second topic, Toys to Life. Is it evil or is it heaven? Until then, game on.
Game on.